It's time now for Wrangling Wednesday, a special feature of the Glendale Devotional Podcast. The speaker is pastor, evangelist, and natural horsemanship trainer Ron Plymel. Now, here's Brother Ron.
Let me welcome you to this week's edition of Wrangling Wednesday. We so greatly appreciate you joining us here each weekday and want to thank you for your regular encouragement, prayers, and support. Our spiritual insight today comes from a text that may be or at least sound familiar to a number of you. It's a passage from the Old Testament book of Proverbs. In Proverbs chapter 3, beginning in verse 5, we find this insight. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you which path to take. Have you ever found it difficult to trust other people? Do you sometimes wonder about their motives? How about someone whose motive is always good and pure? Do you ever find difficulty fully trusting God? Jesus gave us a secret in Matthew 18:3 when He said, I tell you the truth, unless you turn from your sins and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. So anyone who becomes as humble as this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So what are some characteristics of children? Eager, expectant, hopeful, innocent, trusting, etc. Have you ever taken time to consider how trusting a horse must be? I began to think about this one day as I was going out the barn to feed. Most of the time I go to the barn if the horses are within eyeshot of the barn, and they will come and meet me at the barn. Sometimes eager and galloping, other times lazily and walking. But here's the kicker. Even when they come and I put a halter on them for whatever purpose, to have shoes put on them, to saddle one to go on a trail ride, even to take one out to the round pen or arena to work camp. The next time I come to the barn, guess who comes to meet me? It's the horses. Now, I know most of the things I previously mentioned are not necessarily what we would call fun things for the horse, but it seems that he or she chooses not to focus on the peripheral bad things, only on the good things that happen when they meet me at the barn, like feeding, petting, positive reinforcement, etc. And that's how we should respond in our life. Oh, I know as well as anyone that life happens. Everything is not always how we like it, when we like it, where we like it. But when we trust in the Lord and do not lean on our own perspective, our own way of thinking, our own understanding of how we think things should go, wow, what a blessed outcome can be ours. What a life of blessing we can experience. God sees further and knows more about our life than we ever could. We just need to trust Him with it. How much better would our life be if we approached our relationship with God in a childlike or even a horse-like manner? Focus on the good, overlook the bad, but learn from them both. Let me close out with just a few ways that God has blessed me and my family beyond what we could have ever imagined. One begins with this very ministry to which God has called us, the Green Grass Ministries and Horsemanship. When I resigned a full-time pastorate in 2007 and we began this ministry, who would have ever thought it would have the extension and the outreach that it does today, and hopefully, prayerfully, an extended positive impact. And when I left a previous pastorate a little before I had planned to do so myself, I would have never imagined that our ministry plate could be so full and so plenteous. And who would have ever thought that I would be sharing a weekly broadcast on the radio, being able to combine my horsemanship training and my Christian ministry? I wish time would allow me to go on, but I think you can observe my point. I would not be where I am today, as blessed as I am today, had I not trusted God's providence instead of my own understanding. Let me challenge you today. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Until next time, thank you for listening, and may God richly bless the trails you travel.
To learn more about Greener Grass Ministries and horsemanship, please call Brother Ron Plymel at 662-415-1514. You're always welcome to visit Cowboy Church, which is held at High on the Hog Barbecue, Highway 72 in Glen, Mississippi, each Sunday morning at 8:30. Or you can watch their services on Facebook. Thanks for listening. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of the Glendale Devotional Podcast.